Okay, Ralph, it's fine. Just act natural. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, who am I kidding? It's actually a really big deal, and I'm excited to finally announce that my line with Hero Arts is available. That's right, I've partnered with Hero Arts to create a line of stamps, dies, stencils, all the fun stuff you see me use to make cards already, but this time with the Ralph Tyndall touch. And if you're new here, allow me to rewind just a second to talk about how we got here. For those of you that don't know, I quit my corporate job about 7 or 8 months ago to pursue content creation and card making full time. The only thing on my side, and I don't want to further complicate everything that's going on for you, but I wanted to let you know that I've decided to take a step back, and I will be leaving. Crazy, I know, and it's been a really wild journey.
Don't make unnecessary journeys. Don't take risks on treacherous roads, and don't swim in the sea.
When I left my job, I was leaving a job as a product manager where my entire role was to build and create software products. I've always had a knack for building and creating things, and so I knew that when I started on this new crafty journey, I would want to build and create products here as well. But I figured that crafting products would be a lot more fun to create than software, and I can tell you that is indeed true. So we actually started on this collection back last summer, and so I've been sitting on these designs and these products for quite some time, and I've been itching to get them out into the world, and so I'm so excited that today is the day. One of my favorite things about what I do is hearing from so many of you who are stumbling upon card making and crafting for the first time, people who were very similar to me and just craving a creative hobby in a very technology-driven world. So I wanted to create a line of products for people like that. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to put out there in this first collection, I wanted to make sure that the products were approachable and friendly for newcomers. That means none of these products require a ton of skill or intricate coloring. We all know that's something that I still struggle with. And I wanted to make sure that anyone could pick up these products and make something beautiful. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the products. Okay, y'all, it is time to let the cat out of the bag. I'm so excited to finally show you guys what we have been working on all these months. Before we do, I do just want to mention that there are 10 products that make up this very first collection, and they're all kind of centered around 3 core themes. Now, of course, you can use your supplies however you deem fit. You don't have to use these supplies in these 3 themes that I'm going to talk about, but I just kind of wanted to give you an overview of how I'm going to move through the products in this video. So let's go ahead and jump into the first theme, which is composition book. So let's first take a look at this large red rubber background stamp. Of course, this is a large 6x6 background stamp that looks like a pattern for a composition book, similar to those old school composition books you would use in school. And it's quite large. It's 6x6, so you can very easily use this for making backgrounds for your standard A2 size cards and even larger projects. And I'm gonna go ahead and open it in case some of you are maybe not familiar with how Hero Arts does their background stamps. They use red rubber. If you've never used red rubber stamps before, nothing against clear photopolymer stamps, but they really are superior. They give you a much cleaner impression, and I find that they're easier to clean as well. And the best part is these red rubber stamps are made in-house in California by Hero Arts, so that's amazing. And I really love using red rubber stamps for backgrounds whenever I don't really need to see through the stamp, you know what I mean? And so these 6x6 stamps come with this acetate backing on them. You can leave this on and stamp just fine with the acetate backing on. Or if you want to use a stamp platform like your Misty, this foam backing sticks very nicely to your stamp platform. It also sticks very nicely to your work surface. For instance, I have my glass mat here, and you can see the stamp is not going anywhere. So super high quality universal background stamp. You could also use this for mixed media applications. For instance, if you had a thick layer of texture paste on your card or project, I could see going in with this stamp and adding a lot of fun organic texture to that paste. And so I think that there's really a lot that you can do with this stamp outside of just making composition books. Okay, so the next product in the composition notebook theme is our composition notebook Messages Stampin' Cut. As you can see, this is a combination of dies as well as a 4x6 stamp set. A Up top we have our label die. So these are kind of those front labels that you see oftentimes on composition notebooks. We give you a couple of different sizes here as well as a couple of different shapes, so you can really choose what works best for your project. And then we have a 4x6 stamp set here, which has a lot of fun sentiments. We have some generic ones and we also threw in a few fun ones. You can pause this if you want to read them. I really love the Life Can Be Brutal one. So you can make a little encouragement card, like put hang in there, life can be brutal, or hang in there, I know this sucks. Or you can do something as generic as happy birthday, you're the coolest person I know. I think that there's a lot of fun and flexibility here. And speaking of flexibility, we actually also added a couple of line stamps. You can see this stamp here has 2 lines. And then there's a single line stamp over here as well, so you can actually add lines to your labels and then write in your own sentiments if you wanted to. I'm going to show you examples here in a second of what all of this looks like put together. But before we do, I want to show you the last item in the composition notebook theme, although I guess it's technically 2 items, but we have some really fun hero transfers. And if you're not familiar with hero transfers, it is Hero Art's version of rub-on transfers. And if you're not familiar with rub-on transfers, I'm going to show you how to use these in just a second. But these are really, really fun. We have one set of icons. So these are just images and illustrations that kind of give that fun retro vibe for the composition book. And then we also have a set of rub-on messages. So these are similar to this set, except these are actual messages. So if you wanted to add a thank you on your card or just tell someone how amazing they are. I really love this Oh Snap. If you were in school in the 90s like myself, you will remember that S very fondly. And so I think these are really, really fun to add to the front of your composition book to add a little extra personality to the card. And they're not stamps, they're rub-on transfers. So all of the coloring and hard work is already done for you. Now, like I said, if you're not familiar with rub-on transfers, I'm going to show just a quick demonstration of how it works. So here I have just a regular old piece of cardstock. And what you would do is you would take out your sheet of hero transfer. Let me just show you what this looks like on the sheet. And you can cut out whatever image you want. So you can see here, I cut out a pair of these lips. And it's very similar to a temporary tattoo. So you're gonna have this top layer and a bottom layer. Peel off that bottom paper piece. And then all you're going to do is apply this directly to the paper, and you apply it using pressure. So inside of every package of transfers, it's going to come with a little popsicle stick that you can use to rub these in. However, if you have a bone folder on hand, I tend to prefer to use a bone folder. And all you're going to do is just rub over that transfer. If you're not feeling the rubbing route, you can also actually run this through your die cutting machine, and the pressure of your die cutting machine will do the same thing. So once you've rubbed that for just a little bit, all you're going to do is peel this top acetate piece off. And there you go. You have a beautiful applied image straight to your cardstock. Now, the one thing I would note with these is they are a tad translucent. So if you apply these directly to colored cardstock or a pattern, that pattern or color is going to show through just a little bit. So if you want to avoid that and you just want the clean image itself, I would always recommend applying it to white cardstock first, and then you can cut it out and tape it to your project if you don't want any of that background showing through. Okay, finally, let's show you some example cards. And I only have 2 here with me today, but be sure to check out the Hero Arts website. There will be more examples there. Let's go ahead and look at the very first card. When I finally put this together for the first time after ideating about all these products, I was over the moon. This looks exactly like a composition book to me. And you can see I actually heat embossed the background to give that shiny look like the cover of a composition book. You don't have to heat emboss. You could just use black ink or whatever color ink you want, but I do think adding that heat embossing adds just a little bit more realism to the card. And then all I did for the spine is I cut out a strip of black cardstock here. And then I'm not sure if you can tell on camera, but I used a stitching die, which I also got from Hero Arts. I can link that down in the description in case you're looking for it. And then I just added my little hero transfers and my label, and it was really, really easy. Oh, and I also used my corner rounder to round the corners. I really wanted to make this look as much like a composition book as I could. And then on the inside, I added an extra little sentiment. This is getting a bit ahead. This is from a different stamp set we'll look at in a second. And then I also adorned it with another one of those little hero transfers there on the inside. Okay, moving on to the next one, very similar, but a different vibe. So this one is purple, and you can see that I did not do the heat embossing. It still looks great, just not quite as shiny. And then I used a different sentiment here. So here we have hang in there, life can be brutal. And I did the same thing. I have my black spine with my stitch die and applied the hero transfers just like so. Now, before we move on, I should mention one more thing. So you'll notice in these cards on the labels, I have these little black lines, and I want to talk about that just briefly. So when you cut out those front labels using these dies, they're going to come out looking like this. So you can obviously tell there's no black lines on the edges, but if you look very closely, I hope this shows up on camera, you can see that those lines are scored into the paper. So if you want to achieve this look here, it's super easy. All you want to do is grab a fine tip black pen, and then it's super easy to trace over those lines. We thought about making this a stamp so that you could stamp the edges on, but we wanted to give you as much room as possible for more sentiment. So we decided that adding those little lines is really no trouble at all, and hopefully you agree. Okay, so that is the composition book set. Go ahead and let me know which product is your favorite, and in the meantime, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so I'm really excited to show you this next set of products, and I don't know if it's my favorite. It's hard for me to decide if this set is my favorite or the composition notebook stuff is my favorite. When we first started talking about what we're going to design first, this is the theme that I knew that I wanted to come out with first, and so it's kind of surreal that it's finally here. And this set of products all revolves around a theme that I like to refer to as center stage. And as you can probably tell right off the bat, this whole theme kind of celebrates the performing arts, whether that's theater, music, dancing, even speech and debate. I have something in there for you. But this set is really for all of my performing arts lovers out there. So let's take a look first at, this might be my favorite product in the entire line if I had to choose a favorite product, and that is our stage curtain layered stencil set. So this is a set of 3 layered stencils, and you kind of get a bonus 4th because there's a mask in there, and I use the mask every time I use this set. But let's go ahead and take a quick look at what's inside. Now, if you're familiar with layered stencils, this is going to look like, you know, every layered stencil set you've ever used. But layer 1, you of course can create your curtain, and then we have the mask for that. Layer 2, we're adding details to the curtain, and then you're also able to come in here and begin building out your stage. And then in here, we're adding more detail to the stage, and then also that back curtain. And by the time you're done with all of that, you end up with this very pretty set that you can use as a backdrop for your card or any other project you have in mind. Now, what you may already be noticing from the packaging is that this stencil set also works with our stage curtain die. So as a separate product, you can buy the stage curtain die, which what this is going to do is it's just going to add some extra detail to that curtain that you already stenciled. And then we also have an additional die cut line in here, so you can actually cut out the curtain itself so that you can layer the curtain and the stage separately on your card. Now, this works beautifully with the stencil set. However, you can also buy this as a standalone product if you're just interested in having a textured curtain to frame your card and you want to color it yourself. That's a beautiful option as well. You could use alcohol markers, watercolors, whatever you want. I think that this still stands alone as a great product in itself. Okay, so moving on, we have our performers. So this is a very large 6x8 stamp set and includes all of our performers to adorn our stage with. So we have dancers, we have actors taking a bow, we have a singer, all of the singers, additional band members, and we even have someone giving a speech. And aside from the performers, we also have this rafter along with these stage lights. These are really fun to play with. I'm going to show you an example here in a second. And then we have our little theater mask, a music staff with notes, just all kinds of things to adorn our stage. And then of course, on top of that, we had to throw in some sentiments. So there are some nice, bold sentiments here that are all centered around performing arts or congratulating someone. That's the thing about this set, is that yes, I think it's great to give to anyone who is a fan of the performing arts, but it's also just a great set in general for congratulations cards or I'm rooting you on. You can see there's I'm cheering you on, you deserve a standing ovation, you're a class act, I'm your biggest fan, I think is a really cute one. So you can really get creative with how you use these sentiments and these center stage products. And so that comes in a 6x8 stamp set. Of course, you can also buy the stamp bundle, which is going to give you the 6x8 stamp set along with all of the coordinating dies. You know that I am a lover of coordinating dies. And then our very last product in the center stage theme of products is the center stage crowd die. So this probably doesn't look like much in the packaging, but this is a crowd of adoring fans who are rooting on the performers on stage. So this would be a really great option to add to your card if you're creating one of those stage scenes. It also is great as a standalone element if you just wanted to create a congratulations card or a I'm rooting you on type of card. I think that this is also great. And it would also work great for sports themed cards. So even outside of performing arts, you can find a lot of uses for this die. And I intentionally left the bottom here open because I wanted you to be able to choose and adjust how tall this die actually is. So when you cut this out, the bottom's going to be open and you can just trim it to your desired height. Okay, let's look at some examples of those. I'm going to start out with this one because it uses that curtain stencil that I'm absolutely in love with. You can see that I also paired it with that curtain fancy die. Hopefully you can see the added detail and cuts in those curtains, and I also cut the curtains out in the middle there so that I could layer the curtains on top to add a little bit of dimension. Up top here we have those stage lights that I was talking about. It's super easy to create stage light beams. All you want to do is add a little bit of masking tape on either side to create a triangle, and then you can just ink blend some yellow ink or whatever color you'd like up there to create stage lights. And then of course we put our little actors taking a bow there in the middle. Next up, I want to show you a really super simple, easy card. So here we used the drummer from our performer set. I went ahead and cut him out using the coordinating die, popped him up for some added dimension. And then all I did was again use masking tape to ink blend some rays here. And then I added that little music note stamp on top with the complimenting "You Rock" sentiment. This card literally came together in like 5 minutes, but I love it. Next up, we have a card using that crowd fancy die. So here you can see I kind of used a combination of everything except the stage curtain, of course. So I used all of the band members to create a band, and then we have the rafters with the lights. I used different colored lights this time. And then we have all of these adoring fans down below cheering on the concert. And then this sentiment here is actually from a stamp set I haven't shown you yet, so this is a little bit of a sneak peek. But then I just went ahead and threw a sentiment up there that I liked. And then lastly, this is another pretty simple card, but I wanted to show you how you could use the crowd fancy die in another way. So what I did here is I actually used that die as a mask. You can see that this is all one layer. So what I did is I cut out the die, I layered it on top of my cardstock, and then ink blended over it. And that created this really fun mask. And then all I did was added a little sentiment in the middle, and that was it. So this is just another example of how you can use this outside of the performing arts genre, if you will. Okay, and so those are the two main themes. The third thing isn't necessarily a full theme, it's just one product, but it is a set of essential sentiments. So this is just a set of everyday sentiments that could be used to coordinate with any of the products that I've shown you today. You can see that some of these sentiments I actually already used. For instance, here I have "You're Killing It" and "I'm So Proud of You." Both of those are from this set. And then I added some coordinating dies as well so that you can create really easy sentiment strips with these dies. And what I really like about these dies is that I wanted to give them a little bit of movement to them. So what I did is I actually made them slanted instead of just your regular block sentiment dies, which I think adds a little bit of fun modern flair and movement to the sentiment strips. And even though these are everyday essential sentiments, I tried to give you some things that maybe you haven't seen that often. One of my favorites is "You're Killing It." Seriously, I love doing life with you. "Hang in there, kid." That's another favorite. "I Miss Your Face." Yas, that's a fun one. I try to make things that are really fun and unique, but you would still use and come back to all the time. And that is really it, y'all. That is the collection. So I have, what is this? 6 example cards here for y'all. But that's it. That is the very first collection. Be sure to check out the Hero Arts website for more inspiration examples, but I hope that this is enough to at least get your creative juices flowing and see what's possible with this brand new collection of products. And I hope that you can see all of the thought that has gone into creating these products. I really wanted to make this as simple and approachable as possible. That's one of the reasons that for the stamp set, they are all silhouettes, so there's no tricky coloring involved. And then I also want to do the same thing for the hero transfers. So you can make really beautiful cards and you're not necessarily worried about being the perfect illustrator or colorer. You can simply pick up the products and make something beautiful. And I would love to know which of the products or which theme is your favorite. So if you want to comment that down below, I would love to just get an idea of what resonates best for you. All right, that is it, y'all. That is the full overview of my very first collection with Hero Arts. I hope that y'all love it as much as I do, and if you are feeling inspired to create anything, I'll go ahead and leave the link down in the description so that you can shop the collection. And lastly, and most importantly, I just want to extend a big thank you to all of you who have come with me on this crazy, crazy journey over the last 18 months. If you would have told me then that I would have a product line in 18 months' time, I would have thought you were absolutely insane. But it is honestly a dream come true, and I could not do it without the support of all of you. So thank you. And with that, I appreciate you sticking around for this full video. I'll leave the link down below in case you do want to shop. Your support means the world to me. And until next time, stay crafty, friends.